Out of the blue, a divine oracle summons a hero and assigns him one of the quirkiest missions. He has to marry the Demon King's daughter and complete the Shinkan quest. One day, he saves a village by battling and defeating an enormous one-eyed monster. Everyone cheers since there are no casualties and the village is safe, and thus began Harold's side hustle, part-time exterminator, full-time awkward son-in-law. In no time, Harold the hero gets surrounded by a mob. One young woman suggests that the monster's fangs and claws sell for a good price, so he should collect them. Next, he is bombarded by all kinds of odd requests, and he politely agrees to fulfill them all. Note to self: never save a village without first reading the fine print. In these peaceful times, Harold defeated the Demon King and was titled hero by his grandfather. According to him, hero is a selfless figure who serves the people without getting anything in return. So when the villagers wonder whether he got hitched, he affirms, "Yes, I'm married. No, I still don't get dental benefits." They are concerned about whether his marriage will affect his work. He politely assures them of his thorough dedication to his goals. Being a hero means one has to worry about several things. First of all, he has to be perfect all the time. After fulfilling a grinding list of chores, he accepts them without a frown on his face when some more chores are awarded to him. In other words, he has to work tirelessly for people in these peaceful times without breaks. It's peacetime, they said. It'll be relaxing, they said. They lied. People wonder if magic can expedite his pace. He finally admits that he is a lot busier with unlimited tasks, so from now on he has narrowed the number of daily requests to 30. Harold is quite aware that his survival depends on the taxes, but he dreams of being in the spotlight. But all he gets is a spotlight-shaped sunburn from running errands at noon. He heaves a sigh of relief after spending yet another grueling day, but a hero cannot wail his woes. On his way home, he wonders whether someone is asleep. He is surprised to discover that the lights are still on even though it is late at night. Either his wife's still up, or the house is haunted again. As he reaches the door, a beautiful young woman with devilish protruding horns on her head welcomes him cheerfully. It is revealed that she is his wife, Yona. He is quite puzzled to see her waiting for him, but she merely assures him that she is a Shinkan after all. Translation: Demon Princess turned housewife with a flair for jump scares. Now, a hero cannot be affiliated with a female without the state's approval. That's why he hasn't gotten used to his newlywed status and is a nervous wreck. Even Yona is trying to adjust to the new life. She informs him that she has prepared something for him, though she feels she needs some more refinement. Spoiler: it's either dinner or a potion. Either way, it might bite. In no time, the table is spread with a lavish spread, and Harold's eyes and mouth widen in astonishment. He cannot believe that she made all the things. She modestly explains that she just tried to copy humans. She might have Googled romantic dinner, but accidentally clicked on some ancient feast beast. He gobbles up the food, and somehow the hot food makes him emotional because years have passed since he has tried piping hot homemade food. She stares at him intently and then wonders whether the food is up to his mark. Harold becomes a bundle of nerves again, seeing Yona so close to him. Turns out danger close applies to cooking and cuddling. He compliments her on her food, declaring it to be perfect and delicious. As she smiles in relief, Harold cannot help but stare at her. His head begins to spin because a hero is forbidden to love anyone more than their citizens, and that includes their family members as well. Basically, Harold is married but emotionally single thanks bureaucracy. He realizes that God, who had given him the title hero, was aware of his inability to love anyone, so in other words, that whole marriage thing is meaningless. He recalls the forbidden sacred book of the highest level left by the gods, called Shinko Quest, and is aware that its discovery started everything. The book forecasts the end of the world and also the way to prevent it. Chapter 1. Don't marry a demon princess unless you like spontaneous crises. He quickly expresses his gratitude to her for the meal and urges her to hit the bed while he cleans up. But she calls out to him gently while touching his cheek with her finger. Harold jumps out of his skin in sheer terror, but she mentions with a chuckle that she was just wiping off a crumb from his face. To be fair, the last time someone touched his face, it was a cursed zombie. She assures him that she will take care of the cleaning and even offers him a fresh set of clothes. He realizes that she can really pretend well to be an amazing wife. It occurs to him that demons have disappeared, so for that reason, Yona seems very attractive and human-like. Harold's new motto: if she cooks like a human and cleans like a human, she's probably a disguised beast queen. Later, when he scrubs off the clothes, he tries to remind himself that Yona deserves a much better man than a dud like himself, and they only got hitched because it was assigned by the sacred book. Now all they have to do is follow the step-by-step instructions to prevent the world's destruction. Out of the blue, Yona pounces on him from behind, cuddling close to him. Achievement unlocked, hugged by a demon without dying. She slowly whispers into his ear that he shouldn't fall asleep just like that. Harold sizzles like a live wire and pulls out from her clutches, since a hero never gives in to any kind of seduction. Yona anxiously wonders whether she startled him. Yes, she did. His soul briefly left the chat. He hysterically questions her whether such advances are part of the book's instructions. She innocently explains that such expressions of love and affection are quite common between couples. He tries to portray his situation to her about his limitations of being a hero, but she reasons that they must do all that to progress with their mission. Love is the mission, she says. Harold suddenly wishes for a monster invasion. Still, he feels that expressing affection is an act of breaching rules. Poor Yona is more baffled than ever, so he regrets the choice of his words and covers up by mentioning that her selfless kindness overwhelms him. He sheepishly admits to not being used to all that. Romance level. Harold's love language is panicked apologies. Yona is surprised, wondering whether being a hero is tiring for him. He frantically tries to deny her statement by urging her to go to bed. Yona ruffles his hair affectionately to calm him down. He hasn't been this flustered since a goblin called him daddy. She explains that she wants to satisfy her husband, who works like a donkey. Instantly, Harold is transmuted to his childhood days when he succeeded his father at a tender age, after the latter chickened out of his hero responsibilities. He was particularly instructed to give up on his worldly desires. Hero rule number 4, no hobbies, no holidays, no hugs. At present, he secretly loves Yona's proximity and wants to remain like this forever. Like a bolt in the blue, a hidden eye embedded on the book cover pops open. It dashes between the two lovebirds, separating them from each other. This book really needs a do not disturb setting. Both are startled by the book's sudden excitement. The book opens with its first chapter, which is also the first mission of the Shinkan quest. The first mission instructs them to develop an emotional attachment towards each other. So basically, the ancient sacred text is a relationship therapist now. Literally, a voice emerges from the book urging them to strengthen their bond, like they are already doing. Yona thinks that the book is kinda invading their privacy. However, Harold feels that at least it is easy to read and understand, unlike tax forms and royal wedding contracts. Uncannily, the last pages of the book are locked, and no matter how hard he tries, Harold is unable to pull them apart. Even his fingertips are scratched in his endeavors, so he decides to keep the book with him since he finds it intimidating, and Yona can always tell him if she wants to read it. However, she is far too absorbed to listen to him. To be fair, she's probably debating whether to seduce him or bite him. Again, she quickly grabs his hand and licks up his bloody tips. Afterwards, she flashes him a smile, mentioning his blood tastes so sweet. Next, she decides to forget about the sacred book since they are already in a scripted act. Nothing says love like an obsessive vampire. She holds his hands and gently pushes him back, attempting to climb over him. Her expression becomes intense as she playfully tries to calm him. She touches his abdomen and gets closer to him. Harold is now 80% fear, 20% ab muscles. To his horror, her fingers turn into beastly paws, and she mentions that they are not sinning as they are already married. In no time, she licks his hand, reminding him that he is a man. With that, she smiles cutely and raises her sharp claws to attack him. Relationship status. It's complicated. Also possibly life-threatening. But before she can make a vicious move, the book releases an electric current that literally jolts her flesh away from her bones. The book states that she has been struck since she violated a rule. A panic-stricken Harold tries to awaken an unconscious Yona. Note to Harold: if your relationship needs divine tasers, maybe it's time for couples counseling. The book mentions that the quest must be completed step by step. He furiously protests that the rule is not mentioned in the book, but the book insists that the rules imposed by the gods should be respected and followed. Harold considers the Mad Eye book quite odd. Mad Eye sounds like the book needs an eye doctor. Gradually, Yona gains consciousness, and he anxiously checks on her well-being. She abruptly pulls away from him and then apologizes deeply for her previous behavior. Quite sheepishly assures her that everything is okay, and in fact he is quite impressed by her wilder side. Wow, she went from "I'm sorry" to "hold my beer real quick." He adds that a shy guy like him needed a jumpstart. He considers the previous encounter as an exchange of weaknesses. Quite meekly, she expresses her gratitude for having him as her spouse. This is like a rom-com meets reality show, so much drama. He stares at her in disbelief and chips in that even he is lucky to have her. In this way, they both decide to save the world together. Because every romantic story needs an epic quest, obviously. The next morning, a bright and cheerful Yona wakes Harold with a warm smile. Blushing slightly, she teases him for having fallen asleep. Suddenly, the entire house trembles with a powerful vibration as the Book of Shinkan Quest erupts with light, announcing that their mission has been successfully completed. Achievement unlocked, napping like a pro. Yona is glad that they are off to a great start, and an embarrassed Harold quickly gets off the bed. Yona teases him playfully about his cute sleeping face and expresses her desire to spend that day as a newlywed couple. On the third day, a ravenous Harold dives into the sumptuous breakfast spread in front of him. Breakfast like a king, or at least like a bottomless pit. It has been ages since he had a meal like this. She gleefully explains that she prepared a special holiday meal for him and hopes that he finds it tolerable. He compliments her cooking skills and adds that the food has a special spicy touch. Spicy? Like their relationship status, she clarifies that she didn't learn those culinary skills at home but used books from the library as a reference. He is bewildered to learn that and guesses that she might be living in an enormous house. It is then that he recalls that Yona is actually the Demon King's daughter, and instantly, a dark and intimidating demon appears in his mind, protecting his daughter possessively. Daddy's got horns, and they're not just for decoration. He decides not to probe deeper about her house. Unaware of his thoughts, Yona is keen to know about his lunch requests. He offers to cook lunch that day, to her astonishment. Plot twist: Harold's a chef, or at least a microwave master. He clarifies that he might not be as good as her, but he can always try. Not only that, he also suggests equal division of household chores between the two. He feels that the fair division of tasks is the key to a harmonious life. Harold's Guide to Domestic Bliss. Step 1. Survive the chores. According to him, a whole list of chores will be written down first and small goals will be set. He is about to blabber more when she interrupts him in the middle. She smiles and wonders about his source of such absurd ideas, and she is certain that society might have filled that nonsense in his head. Society strikes again, like an annoying pop-up ad. She unexpectedly pops up a question about what to add when eggs are fried. The first thing that comes to his mind is salt, followed by sauce. To his surprise, she states that wasabi is the secret ingredient, and no matter how much you add, it is never enough. Next up on Master Chef, demonic wasabi omelets. She explains what she is trying to convey, that although other opinions matter, everyone has a different taste in terms of meals. She suggests knowing each other better for a better future collaboration. He is touched by her eagerness to delve deeper into his personality. Loves a recipe, 1 part spice, 2 parts confusion. So he decides to spend the whole day with her for that purpose. Yona is excited about his suggestion. Soon she leads him to her secret room, whose walls are lined completely with books, toys, and other human-related artifacts. Secret room unlocked, like a nerdy bat cave. She expresses her deep fondness for human culture and urges him to touch anything he wants. Harold is stunned at the underground wonderland Yona has created. So when he is thunderstruck to see a figurine of himself, she explains that he is a very popular novel hero in certain human niches. Wait, he's famous? Where's the paparazzi? She even shows him the very rare special editions of those novels. Poor Harold is electrified to see himself in a very questionable position. He feels that men shouldn't read such taboo books. Harold's face is redder than a tomato in a romance novel. Sheepishly, Yona mentions that the special novel is called Lovely Swordmaster, shortened to Ravmas. He tries to convince himself that maybe the novel isn't that cringed, or maybe it is all a misunderstanding. Animatedly, Yona mentions that she got enlightened about human culture from such books. Who needs Wikipedia when you've got spicy fanfics? She is particularly obsessed with the idea of men and women colliding, with each carrying bread slices in their mouths. A puzzled Harold has no idea about which custom of what tribe she is talking about. Curious, he quickly flips open the page to check out the content. Spoiler alert, it's carbs colliding, not romance. Instantly, he is hit by a 10,000-volt electric shock as his gaze falls on the picture. Embarrassed to the core, he quickly bangs shut the book. He deeply apologizes to her for being carried away when a flustered Yona instructs him to handle the books with care. Pro tip: read with caution, some books are rated spicy. Yona continues about how she had admired human culture since childhood. She insists that although others didn't understand them, she really loved those books. A stunned Harold envisions her previous intimate modes and understands where she got those ideas from. Harold's mental image just got a lot more colorful. After a while, on their way back, she urges him to talk about his hobbies, so when he thinks intently, she encourages him to come out easily since even she was nervous before. After much thought, he admits that he doesn't have a noteworthy hobby. He really wishes someone would tell him about his interests. Yona appears baffled, but he continues that recently he really enjoyed her company. A shocked Yona abruptly stops on her feet, blushing furiously. Achievement unlocked, making a demon blush. So he stares at her and reaffirms his previous statement. Harold can see vicious fumes coming out of her head, so he irritably reminds her request to be honest. She retorts hysterically that his statement about his hobby was quite unexpected. Plot twist: honesty unlocked a hidden volcano. She turns her face away, exclaiming that if he doesn't have any hobbies, then there is nothing to do. In the next instant, she turns towards a distressed Harold and gleefully declares that they must do a lot of things together. The Book of Shinken Quest suddenly flips open to the page where the next task awaits them, called Sharing Our Favorite Things. Next up, the quest for ultimate hobbies. May the odds be ever in their favor. One day, Harold is busy in his usual endeavors, and this time he is slaying a dark and spiny monster. He wonders how that rare monster entered the village, and he probes the villagers about it. The others get anxious about that grilling and think that they are being accused of letting that monster trespass. Relax, guys. It's not like he's interrogating you for stealing his lunch. Harold quickly explains that he didn't mean that. The others decide to leave the rest to Harold since they have to prepare for the upcoming harvest festival. While digging non-stop, Harold thinks about the festival, which is rumored to be bigger that year, like bigger than a TikTok star's ego. Suddenly, Yona's face flashes in front of him, and he feels that she will love that festival. With that, he dozes off in another world, only to be rudely interrupted by a blaring young girl who frantically tries to wake him up. Next, the Book of Shinken Quest is discussed, which is the ultimate book of destiny. Ultimate Book of Destiny, like a self-help guide but with actual monsters. It is created by the gods and records the destruction of the world and its prevention. It describes how a human representative and a demon must intermarry and fulfill the missions mentioned in the book. Once done, the world can be saved from doom. If only saving the world was as easy as updating your relationship status. To fulfill the rules in the book, Hero Harold and Demon Yona are hitched. Later, he brings an excited Yona to the colorful and vibrant festival. She delightfully wonders whether it is a human festival, so he points out that there are awfully a lot of people here. I can smell sarcasm here. She cannot believe that he actually asked her out, and an abashed Harold never thought he was bringing her on a date. Nevertheless, he decides to go with the flow, and even she plans to enjoy herself stress-free. Harold doesn't know what to say, so he hesitantly holds her hand and walks all high and mighty, like a toddler on a sugar rush. But after a while, he pulls himself away as if bitten by a snake, exclaiming that they are doing the right thing. She is confused, stating that holding hands is not that bad. Yona vows that this has been their first date since their week-long marriage, and she will make it successful at all costs. Week-long marriage? Sounds like a Netflix series binge. Yona has actually accepted Harold with her heart and soul. Then, an enormous tree is shown, which is the principle of the festival. It is supposed to be a sacred tree that connects to one of the three gods, and this festival is an ancient celebration dedicated to both. Three gods, probably the original boy band. An excited Yona wonders whether a maiden sacrifice is involved with that festival, and a puzzled Harold hopes that such a gruesome event is not present. She is surprised that everyone is treating her normally. Harold guesses that no one is aware of her being a demon, and the whole thing has a history behind it. Plot twist: she's the cutest demon in town. She is puzzled about why the hero system still exists, as the next day, Harold has to perform his duty to guard the festival on a holiday despite being newly married. Harold has no answer, so he sheepishly covers up by bringing up the Book of Shinken Quest. He playfully suggests spoiling each other, and she thinks it's a great idea, spoiling each other like ice cream melting in the sun. Their conversation is interrupted by a young woman who excitedly calls out for Harold. Harold instantly recognizes her as Iris and questions her about the shop. She assures him that he need not worry since the festival is the next day. A shop? More like a gossip hub. She points at his towering height, which made her recognize him immediately. She wonders why he hadn't invited her to the festival. Suddenly, Yona appears from behind and expresses her curiosity at seeing Iris. Surprise cameo from the demon wifey. Harold introduces Iris to Yona and mentions that they both grew up in the same village. Iris exuberantly adds that they are both childhood friends, but she is much younger than him. Currently, she is employed at a goods store in the city. Like an Amazon, but with more gossip, she hopefully inquires whether he will pass by her stall at the festival the next day, since all the village boys will be there and they can all have a reunion. A whiff of nostalgia passes through Harold, but he excuses himself due to his security duty the next day. Iris quickly suggests that they can have a reunion that day if he isn't busy playing bodyguard to Yona. Bodyguard duty, some heroes just can't catch a break. Quite hesitantly, he reveals that he is married to her. Iris's face darkens in sheer shock, and he smiles abashedly, apologizing for informing her late. Iris is fully drained in distress as Harold has never shown that kinda attitude before. Imagine being friend-zoned by a hero on his honeymoon. Secretly, she is seething with anger at Harold for choosing a strange woman with no dressing sense. She even scorns the twin horns on her head. She secretly refuses to accept that absurd relationship, but puts on a cordial mask on her face. Fake smile level 9000, Oscar-winning performance incoming. Later, while having coffee and donuts, Iris exclaims in relief on learning that their marriage is circumstantial and not out of love. She boldly shoots a question on them about how they are together when they don't like each other. Harold condemns her for being rude. Harold's inner voice, "I didn't sign up for a therapy session." She protests that she is just asking a question, and there is nothing wrong with that. Quite humiliated, he whispers in Yona's ear that Iris is usually well behaved. He actually hoped both of them would become friends. Rose hoping for a besties tea party. Not happening, mate. But Yona is not worried, and she smilingly appeases him. Meanwhile, Iris is hopeful that she still has a chance and that the quest ends soon. Next, she turns to Yona and throws another firecracker, wondering whether she is actually a demon. Firecracker questions, "Talk about a party pooper." Instead of replying, Yona smiles at her sweetly and refers to her as Iris-sama. Iris is struck by a lightning bolt on being given such respect by her. However, she doesn't give up and targets her again by mentioning that demons went extinct long ago, since they have learned that humans won and the gate to the demon world was shut down. That's one heck of a conspiracy theory called the FBI. Iris continues to beam and refuses to reveal anything since it is a confidential matter. Iris loses her cool and claims that's why things are suspicious on her end. Things are heating up between the two, so Harold has to intervene. Harold, referee by day, hero by night. He confronts Iris for behaving bizarrely that day. He secretly wonders about her unusual behavior that day since he has known her for so long. Out of the blue, a concerned Harold touches her forehead to check whether she is having a fever. Touching a girl's forehead? Smooth move, Doc. Instantly, Iris jumps as if struck by a thunderbolt, and even Yona condemns him for touching Iris without warning. A panic-stricken Harold tries to explain that he just wanted to check her temperature. Iris hysterically springs up and grabs Harold, declaring that she cannot accept Yona taking care of him. Jealousy levels off the charts, like a soap opera, but with monsters. She explains that demons are bad and enemies of a hero. She expresses her doubts about the Demon King's daughter's sincerity and accuses her of planning something sinister behind his back. She openly declares that Yona cannot be trusted because of being a demon. Plot twist. Yona is probably the most normal one here. Harold blurts out that what she said is not true, and all is based on her assumption. Iris desperately tries to reason that his ancestor defeated the Demon King. He gently explains that he kills monsters daily to survive, and one has to fight for the living. Hero life. Kill monsters by day, fight drama by night. He defends Yona by mentioning that she is doing her best to understand the humans. Iris stares at them in disbelief and next blasts at Harold whether he actually understands her. She greedily probes him about what he thinks of her. She's fishing for compliments like it's a talent show. Harold innocently declares her a spoiled sister, but Iris is not convinced as she wants to know more about her qualities in his eyes, like being cute or cheerful. She slowly wonders whether he would like to go out with her. Instantly, Harold shouts out a huge no, declaring that he will never go out with his sister. Rejected faster than a bad Tinder match, his response blows up Yona and upsets Iris to the extent that she storms away, cursing him loudly, and even calling him a virgin gorilla. A stunned Harold stares after a howling Iris, wondering what went wrong. The busybodies around them begin to buzz intently about the ugly brawl. Who needs soap operas when you have demon drama live on the street? Yona tries to calm her nerves down, assuring him that even though he is a slug, he still tried to protect her. He sincerely claims that he said all that from his heart. Yona tries to hide her delight by keeping a firm stance that he shouldn't touch other women like that, especially not in front of her. Protective demon wife, coming in hot. Harold is slightly intimidated by her grave tone, but then, to his relief, she cheerfully announces that they will go after Iris. Now he is not certain about that since Iris acted rudely. Yona open-heartedly claims to understand Iris's feelings, and also emphasizes her responsibility to help out her husband's family. Family therapist Demon Queen, what a package deal. He chuckles and praises her good-naturedness. She smiles, but then realizes something is really odd. She flushes hard when she discovers people around her giving her amused stares. When you think you're blending in, but you're actually the main character, Harold explains that she should have kept her emotions in control in public. Poor Yona is humiliated to the core as things are still quite complicated for her. He is about to pacify her more when a man frantically barges in, announcing that the whole city has been raided by monsters. Plot twist: every festival ends in a monster attack, classic manga setting. Also, it is shown that a miserable Iris is walking down the street all alone. All the way, Iris is lost in her melancholic thoughts. She has always thought of Harold to be hers, and was quite attracted to him since childhood due to his decent and respectable behavior. She knew that he was a hero who was supposed to do greater things, and falling in love was not one of them. Meanwhile, the only hero I ever had was my math teacher, who rescued me from failing grades. For this reason, she wanted to take the first opportunity to grab his attention. But fate has other plans, since he has already gotten married to someone else. Ouch. She just got friend-zoned harder than a puppy at cat convention. She cannot believe that in the end, he just considers her as his sister. She recalls the time when monsters raided the city, and even she was part of the chaotic crowd running for their lives. However, Harold came in front of her, shielding her from the hazard. At that time, she couldn't help falling for him. Nothing like monster mayhem to spark romance, right? At present, she wails inconsolably, thinking that life has been so unfair to her. Out of the blue, she hears sounds of several panic-stricken citizens frantically chased by some dark monsters. Iris is shocked to see them and cannot understand their presence in the city. Sounds like a bad sequel. Monsters Who, the even darker ones. She tries her best to escape the turmoil, but a large pointed staff pierces her satchel, hindering her speed. In no time, she gets surrounded by several spiny, dark monsters ready to devour her. One of them charges towards her when she crouches in terror, secretly calling Harold for help. "Girl, don't crouch. This ain't hide and seek." In no time, Harold arrives in front of her, shielding her from the doom. She watches him with terror-struck eyes, and he furiously questions her about her well-being. When a shaken Iris affirms, he quickly dashes towards the monsters, but before that urges her to escape since there are several of them. Team Harold to the rescue, faster than instant noodles. But Iris has become paralyzed with fear and is unable to move. When a monster is about to strike her with its several daunting spikes, out of nowhere some electric currents zap it away. It is revealed that Yona had arrived in time to zap that monster away. Yona is like a demonic Pikachu on steroids. She assures him that she will take care of Iris. Harold is relieved, and she quickly grabs a frozen Iris and is about to take a leap. Before Iris can comprehend, she levitates upward and jumps from one floor to another of a nearby building until she reaches the rooftop. Forget Uber, Yona's got the best rideshare program in town. Once reaching the safe zone, she casually drops her on the ground with a thud, making Iris believe that demons are real. Iris tries to reckon the whole situation and then finally utters a thank you and then a sorry. Yona stares at her in confusion and realizes that the girl is really sincere. It's like the world's weirdest Airbnb. Survived a monster attack, got dropped on a roof, 5 stars. Iris gives her a puzzled look, so she reminds her of her statement at the store that Yona might be hiding her true nature. With that, Yona wipes off the blood from her scratched cheek and licks her finger. She affirms that Iris could have been right at that time. Nothing says thank you like a little self-degradation, am I right? Iris' eyes widen in sheer shock. Soon, Yona stretches herself and is about to take a downward flight, claiming that she has to help her dear husband. Hysterical Iris tries to stop her, but she tells her to behave and dives backwards, chuckling maniacally. Somebody get this demon a TikTok account. She's got serious vibes. Iris threatens her that things are not over between them. Soon she reaches Harold, who is astonished to see her and questions her about Iris, but an insane expression takes over her face as she transforms herself into her demonic form, declaring to open a punishment chamber for the monsters. A punishment chamber? That's like the worst pop-up store ever. Soon she swings a whip by using her powerful, beastly arms, playfully challenging the monsters towards their death. The monsters are so terrified of her that they begin to weep. In no time, without making any attack, they flee for their life. Monsters be like, we ain't paid enough for this mess. Yona insanely tries to lure them back, only to be pulled back by a frenzied Harold. He explains that they cannot allow unnecessary bloodshed and the village won't stand for it. To his horror, her face turns completely lewd as she opens up her shirt, urging him to satisfy her excitement. Well, that escalated faster than a YouTube prank video. Harold is terrified as Yona has gotten into one of her X modes again. He tries to reason with her that it's not the time and place for that. It is then that she mentions that she goes wild when she sees blood and cannot avoid it. No wonder she's so in rare stakes. Soon she begins to lick his wounds passionately, and poor Harold is finding it hard to focus on the right thing. He even shuts his eyes and turns his face away so he doesn't have to look at her psychotic expression. Deeply hurt, Yona is about to cry, so he anxiously grabs her and agrees to look directly into her face. When love means looking your worst nightmare in the eye, Harold decides to be bold and pulls her closer. But in the spur of the moment, Yona transforms back to her human self. As she finds herself in a questionable position with Harold, she instantly dashes away in sheer humiliation. She did the old reverse Uno card on her own feelings. He tries to stop her, but in no time he is surrounded by several citizens who admire him for getting rid of all the monsters. Meanwhile, an ashamed Iris reaches home, and it appears that the whole house is a mess. The following night, the pre-festive activities are in full swing, with lots of hustle and bustle going on. Party time. But with extra monster sauce, Harold is glad that the festival has begun again. Iris cannot agree less. Apprehensively, she suggests they can always put some effort into a couple's game. Is that like Monopoly, but with more heartbreak? Harold cannot believe that her endeavors have started again, and she affirms that she hasn't given up on him yet. Still, she feels that it will be great to fight together and that she can put in the same effort. Next, she is curious about the monsters that appeared suddenly. Girl, your curiosity's gonna get you a one-way ticket to Monster Town. He explains that they have been seeking the magical powers that the sacred tree releases after a century. As this year marks the 100th year, the appearance of the monsters was evident, and even the festival will be grander. Iris grittily warns him to be prepared the next time, even if it is after a century. Mark your calendars, everybody. Monster Bash at 21:25. He chuckles lightheartedly and then turns towards Yona, who has been silent the whole time. Quite abashedly, she presents Iris's satchel to her, which she gratefully accepts. Also, she presents her with that special edition novel. Ah, the ultimate peace offering. A limited edition paperback. Iris jumps in excitement on seeing commemorative app of the Love Swordsmen. Yona isn't aware that a diehard fan is nearby, so Iris hushes her as she doesn't want Harold to know that she is into questionable novels. She pulls Yona at a safer distance and reveals that the novel's theme is based on Hero, so it should be hidden from Harold. Somebody's got a secret bookshelf. Next, she mentions that the first edition was banned and its illustrations were removed. Yona states that she has that one and offers to show it to her. An exhilarated Iris agrees. Nerd heaven, population. Iris. Harold is not certain about the topic of their conversation, but he is relieved that the two are buddies now. After a few days, Harold is curious about their growing correspondence based on the novel, and Yona reveals that both of them are in conflict since their favorite heroines are different. It's the ultimate showdown, Team A versus Team B. At first, Harold is baffled, but then he shrugs and decides to leave for work. As he steps down the stairs, Yona realizes that she didn't kiss him goodbye. After he has left, she gets busy with her routine activities since it isn't her day off. Girls got chores, somebody ring the laundry hotline, stat. She is very much content with her life with Harold. She is usually very busy with chores, and Harold appreciates everything she does. She even finds him very caring, and well, in reality, she is quite stronger than he thinks. Someone get this girl a cape, 'cause she's the hero now. She even checks their missions regularly in the book of Shinken Quest. While flipping through the pages, the book mentions that she should use her lap that night. She wonders whether they should try that even though he might be exhausted. Lap time or nap time? Decisions. The next thing is singing together. which sounds quite simple, and well, they can easily get through it. Soon she finds the right mission, taking a bath together, and decides to find a way to convince Harold. She whispers to the book that she can be bolder, like giving a full-body massage, but the book refuses to accept any extra requests. Books like, "Nice try, Spa Queen. Not today." Suddenly, there is a knock on the door, and Yona is startled to see an elegant female poodle outside. Yona is anxious to see her servant in her beastly form, and quickly orders her to transform. In no time, she transforms into a slender and elegant lady and goes beyond to make a blood sacrifice for her beloved mistress. However, Yona stops her. Girl went from poodle to psycho in 0.2 seconds. It is revealed that the lady is named Yato and belongs to the Demon King's protection department. Yona explains that she doesn't want Harold to see her in an animal form for an unknown reason. Next, she inquires whether Yato has brought the required stuff, like Amazon Prime, but for demon groceries. In no time, several boxes containing fresh ingredients appear in front of them to her delight. She asks Yato to bring fish next time as she wants to try deboning it herself. Yato agrees but hesitantly wonders about how long she is planning to stay in this human world. Yato is thinking, "Girl, you camping out here or what?" Yona is surprised at her question. Yato reveals that after she left the underworld on her own will, her father, the Demon King, found out about her getting hitched to his enemy, the hero. The next thing, he cried and drowned himself in booze, causing major lag in his responsibilities. Demon King's going through his emo phase. Yato reveals that she has been killed several times just to track her, thanks to her demonic capability to regenerate. Now Yona is aware of her father's wild side and doesn't approve of it. She reminds Yato of the Divine Book, but Yato claims that even if the world is destroyed, she wouldn't marry off her daughter that way. Even if the world ends, she's like, "Nope, swipe left on that guy." She can still envision the gigantic Demon King howling like a baby. She doesn't approve of a marriage partner being a descendant of Hero, as Yona is the rightful heir to the underworld. She urges her to return home. Daddy issues, but make them demonic. She changes the subject by handing her a spade and reminding her that they have chores to do. After some time, an exhausted Yato cannot understand why Yona is making her dig the ground. Also, she is curious about the micro outfit she has adorned. Even the demons like, sis, where's the rest of your clothes?" Yona explains that she is wearing a work uniform from one of her favorite books, and they are creating a hot spring. Yona elaborates that the mountain has natural hot springs, and it will be great to bring them near her backyard and create her own personal jacuzzi. She is certain that even Harold will love it. A jacuzzi? Girl's living her best spa life. Yato jumps in astonishment on learning that she is working for a hero. When she affirms, Yato refuses to progress as she doesn't want to work for monkeys. She feels that he is an unreliable man with low self-esteem and no pride. That's one salty demon right there. According to her, Yona deserves much better. Yona fires up, pulls out Yato's chin with her finger, and menacingly reminds her that Harold is her husband and she won't hear anyone belittle him. She also grills Yato about keeping a watch over her. Somebody call the demon HR department. Yato nervously reasons that the Demon King does that out of concern. Yona loses her cool and yells at her for invading her privacy, since she has been doing that when she was a child. Yato explains weakly that her father is really worried about her. Overprotective dad level, demon overlord. An infuriated Yona starts a trail of complaints against his father about how he stifled her through house arrest, controlling her every move in sight, keeping a close watch on what she wears, what she reads, throwing away her stuff, and especially restraining her from mingling with the opposite sex. She frustratingly feels that she is the victim of parental abuse in the name of concern. With that, she firmly orders Yato to keep digging. Demonic daddy needs therapy. Yato doesn't give up and is curious about why she is so obsessed with Harold. Yona has no answer, but she is certain that there is something called love between them. To emphasize, Yato unconsciously blurts out that Yona must be after the bananas. Her remark irks Yona to the point that she screams at her, claiming that by love she means obnoxious display of affection, which the demon world is not familiar with. Bananas? This story's got more drama than a fruit basket. Her explanation confuses Yato further. She irritably admits that even though she is bad at anything erotic, she belongs to the group who say cringeworthy stuff like, "I like you." She keeps on yapping about her deepest thoughts, when an overwhelmed Yato has to put a full stop to her blabber. Someone hand this girl a diary and a cold drink. Finally, she requests Yato to hold on until she is done with the Shinkum quest, and until then, If Harold and she don't gel well, then she will leave without any complaint. She claims that she doesn't care about Harold's hero title and is certain that he will fall for her one day. Yato gives in and then gives a sudden clap. Clap on, drama on. To Yona's alarm, several members of the Demon King's department begin to appear from the forest. It is revealed that she has been on strict vigilance. Yato reveals that they cannot return empty-handed, but she is certain that with their current agreement, even her father will concur as well. Looks like the Demon King's got his own reality show. Yato orders the members to use their magical powers to create a hot spring. Yona is not certain since she wants the work to be done by hand in order to convey love and affection. But then she realizes her idea is quite absurd and tiresome, so she agrees to build a super luxurious hot spring by combining everyone's powers. If you can't DI it, demonify it. The following evening, Harold is flabbergasted to see a lavish jacuzzi in his backyard. Yona reasons that she thought he might need to relax after an exhausting day. He is awestruck by its amazing design and wonders about how she managed to create it. When your girl's got demon contacts, anything's possible. She blurts out half of the truth that she used demonic magic since she is quite well equipped with it. He expresses his gratitude to her for putting in lots of hard work. Yona blushes furiously. Somebody get these two a reality show already. He offers her to go first, but she comes closer to him and whispers that she wants to go in with him. When Harold is puzzled, she explains that she found the idea in the book of Shinken Quest, and that taking a bath is quite normal. When he remains blank, she howls at him irritably, claiming that couples do that all the time. Poor Harold has no choice but to comply. The woman has a way with words, a grinding way. In no time, he is in the comforting bath, but deep down, he is a nervous wreck thinking about the upcoming tornado. He tries to calm his nerves, and is embarrassed to the core since he has never felt so jittery in his life. Plus, he regrets compelling Yona to say it aloud that bathing is a couple's thing, rather than saying it by himself. Harold, you brave but awkward soul, at least you didn't drown. His thoughts are interrupted by a nearly bare Yona covered in a flimsy towel. Harold is wrapped by a live wire on seeing her like that. She inquires to him whether it is okay if she just keeps on the towel since it's only them. This is one way to test a man's willpower, like a towel challenge. Harold loses his marbles, and his eyes twirl in a swirl out of madness. He avoids looking at her even when she dips beside him. She teases him for freaking out. Harold's got the emotional range of a soggy sponge right now. Without looking at her, he lauds her effort for building an amazing onsen. She playfully nudges him to look at her directly. But then something catches her eye, and she is shocked to see enormous wound marks on his body. He abashedly reveals that those are old scars, and he knows that they look ugly. Nothing like a steamy soak to share your battle scars, ha. To his immense shock, she declares them beautiful. Slowly and gradually, their eyes meet, and they chuckle freely. He asks her about how she spent her day, to which she replies that she moved around a lot and had a lot of exercise. Bath time confessions, one splash at a time. Harold reveals that he spent the whole day creating monster traps. He is curious whether monsters exist in the demon world as well. She affirms and mentions that they are also kept as pets. A demon pet? Imagine the vet bills on that thing. He is amazed because he has always wanted a dog since he was a child. She assures him that he can fulfill his wish, and she can help take care of it. He wonders whether she is fond of animals as well, and she expresses her deep love for them. Every hero needs a demon dog by his side. Next, she shoots a question to him whether he recalls his past a lot. He is baffled by her question, but then she pulls herself up to bring some alcohol. Out of the blue, her towel slips, and a stunned Harold stares at her lewdly, secretly hoping she climbs quickly. Nothing says date night like an accidental towel drop. But she cheerfully uncovers a swimsuit underneath the towel, so that Harold is not uncomfortable. Harold forces a smile, but deep down, our ignited hero is slightly disappointed. But by the end of the day, they manage to have their starry night date in the bath together, as per the mission stated in the book of Shinken Quest. Mission accomplished. The hero and his demon bride survive the towel test. One night, Harold is going through the book of Shinken Quest, while Yona is dozing off peacefully. As he flips through the pages, he is thoroughly relieved that he has managed to clear several missions. He is delighted that so far things have been going smoothly, but still, he feels humiliated reading this book again, and before that, he had no idea about what new lead couples do. Someone called the quest designers, this is suspiciously like real life. He is startled by a sudden moaning sound, and to his astonishment, Yona has slipped out of her sheet, unconsciously, and is sleeping on her back in an inviting position. He gets up abruptly to cover her again, and then sighs, wishing, if only they were not in a fake marriage. The story moves backward to the time when Harold has been compelled by the divine oracle to marry the demon king's daughter and complete the quest. Fake marriage level, when even your divine quest has a terms and conditions clause. At that time, he was completely baffled, since a hero shouldn't wish for such worldly things. When he expresses his concern, the divine oracle declares himself as the angel of love and introduces Lady Yona to him. She thinks Harold is a big deal. Plot twist. The angel of love sounds like your weird matchmaker uncle who's way too invested in your love life. The divine oracle informs him that he has been keeping a close watch over her since she was a child. He feels that she is a bit inflexible, but otherwise a very good-natured person. He considers Harold fortunate for marrying such an attractive girl, and even lauds him for being polite and a nice kid. Nice kid is the demon world's version of she'll do, I guess. He even points at her, to Harold's alarm. Harold is distressed since he was expecting to be called for something substantial. But marriage isn't in his cards. Suddenly, his head begins to spin when the oracle whispers in his ears about not trusting the demon race and assures him that when everything is fine, the relationship will end. Nothing says true love like a prophecy to break up. Relationship goals, right? With that, he accompanies Yona, wondering whether they hold a small ceremony. She agrees to follow their customs. Now Harold had some dreams and expectations about marriage, however, he knows that it will always remain unreachable for him. Harold's wedding playlist probably just says, "Here's to heartbreak and plot twists." He cannot believe that he is stuck in a temporary marriage with someone whom he cannot trust. Later, as the church bells ring, both Harold and Yona are standing together for the sacred ceremony. She notices that he doesn't seem pleased about the whole idea. The kind of wedding where the groom is mentally checking if there's an emergency exit. He hysterically denies the idea and apologizes for being a little jittery. Yona is relieved. He decides to hold his sentiments as he realizes that she might be sailing the same boat. We're all just here pretending we're okay. Every couple ever. He tries to put himself in her shoes and reckons that he might have hated the idea of marrying someone like him. To his surprise, she reveals that she has been really looking forward to this union. She even insists he call her Yona like her family does, instead of Yona-san. When your fake wife is more chill than you. Soon their new lead act officially begins, and he heartily compliments her looks. He quickly realizes that he can be so humiliating when in a sober state. Still, he cannot help but mention that it seems as if he is marrying a princess. Harold, I'm marrying a princess, who's also my life sentence. A startled Yona looks at him, but he insists that she looks gorgeous. She keeps a straight face and warns him that if he is lying, then they will head for a divorce. Yona then inquires about his parents since she had heard they were about to attend the ceremony. This girl has more suspicion than Sherlock Holmes at a mystery party. He hesitantly refutes their presence, claiming that his situation is kinda different. She smiles and assures him that even her situation is similar. They both agree gleefully that they will have a tough time together. Marriage goals: survive each other without hiring a hitman. Harold is glad that Yona is just another girl-next-door type. Harold cannot believe that this whole beautiful thing is a lie, and even gods can be cruel sometimes. The story shifts back to the present, when she wakes him up in the morning. Who needs alarm clocks when you have a suspicious wife? Harold is startled to see her so close, ruffling his hair affectionately. She quickly steps away, claiming to be hungry. It is then that he realizes how happy and content he is. Really, then what about the life sentence? Later, the book of Shinken Quest flips open, revealing a huge heart in the middle. The couple is astonished to see the book act so strangely, wondering whether it got damaged. The book announces that they have progressed well, thus appeasing the gods. Even books are more supportive than most in-laws. Both are curious whether they are being under strict vigilance. To their alarm, a strange thing begins to eject from the bottom of the book, and in no time, a glass vial slips out and lands on the table. The book explains that the vial is a trial for both of them, so they must overcome the challenge and strengthen their bond. Nothing says relationship goals like mysterious vials and cosmic tests. Yona tries to pat the book for some relevant stuff to come out, but it is long dead. Harold decides to check the vial. As he pulls out the cork, he finds it empty. Plot twist. The real treasure was the empty bottle all along. A frustrated Yona decides to ignore it, considering it a prank played by the book. Even Harold has started to lose faith in the gods. Harold decides to head for work, so she reminds him to take his sword, because nothing says, "Honey, have a good day at work," like a giant sword. Eerily, the sword feels heavier to him than before. A concerned Yona is worried about his well-being. Shockingly, Harold has shrunk considerably and has a childlike demeanor. Looks like puberty hit him in reverse. Even his clothes hang loosely around him, to Yona's amusement, like a potato sack on a confused hamster. Harold is shocked to discover that he has completely turned into a child. Quite annoyed, he questions Yona about his sudden transformation, but even she is clueless about the whole situation. He is relieved when she assures him of her intactness and realizes that the magic affected only him. Classic fantasy plot twist, childish drama with no parental supervision. To him, Yona seems like a giant. Still, he is worried that his current state will greatly affect his work and tries to discover a way to move easily. An amused Yona finds it difficult to hold her excitement. Look at her face go greenish-blue from all that holding. But when he turns around to face her, she tries to look stupid. When he expresses his concern about how to get back to normal, her face remains blank. Then, without saying anything, she calls someone and confirms whether it is safe to do something if one's brain works like an adult male. Girl, are you running a psychological experiment or what? Harold gets panic attacks on hearing this absurd conversation as he can smell danger around him. She holds him gently and probes him whether he has anything he wants to do. Poor Harold is about to have a heart attack when she comes dangerously close to him, mentioning that such an opportunity is very rare. This is like a Disney movie gone totally off script. Harold wonders whether she is enjoying his vulnerability. He tries to get away by making work as an excuse, but a furious Yona violently grabs him and shakes him incessantly, yelling at him to choose between his duties and her. She compels him to take a day off, and hapless Harold is completely boggled. Work-life balance? More like choose between your life or your wife. Looking at his pitiable state, she realizes her mistake of going out of bounds and dashes away to get some water for him. He feels sorry for her, who seems to be enjoying it a lot, but he cannot just take a day off without giving prior notice. He picks up the mysterious vial and scrutinizes it. Plot twist. HR department sends him a formal letter. Excuse not accepted. Suddenly, he finds some carved letters at the bottom. It is mentioned that the time has come for the couple to express true feelings for each other, and the only way to return to his original form is to put their current feelings into words. Soon, Yona arrives carrying a bucket of water. Because obviously, every fairy tale problem is solved with a love confession or a bucket of water. She is curious about what he is holding and tries to snatch it from his hand by tickling and cuddling him. To her immense shock, he grabs her hand and announces loudly that he is so happy. He continues that since they started living together, it has occurred to him several times, so now he feels it's time to express his gratitude towards her. When a dude has to turn into a kid just to spill his feelings. Classic. Yona is stunned by his touching speech and wonders whether he is about to bid her farewell. He insists that these are his true feelings for her and is curious to know hers about him. A flushed Yona grins, and it dawns on him the real meaning of the word trial, and by trial they meant emotional roller coaster. She addresses him as Lord Harold and accuses him of being bad at keeping secrets. He protests that his feelings are genuine. She does not doubt that, but thinks that to toy with a young woman's heart with fake feelings is a serious crime, and he should be severely punished for it. I swear, she's the prosecutor, judge, and executioner all rolled into one. She has even thought of an exciting punishment for little Harold for 3 consecutive days, and a terrified Harold decides to flee the scene as fast as possible. Later, a puzzled Yona is curious whether he wants to know how she feels about him. He explains that they both know that their marriage is just a contract, but he does not regret it. Instantly, she throws herself on him in a passionate hug and claims that he can just figure it out by looking at her. Hug attack. Watch out, Harold, she's coming in hot. A bewildered Harold insists that she must express those feelings in words. When she looks baffled, he assures her that anything will do, even the little things, but they should be genuine. However, she refuses to open up since it is kinda embarrassing for her. Looks like Yona's playing the shy demon princess card, classic move. Now this comes as a surprise to him since she always tried to be close to him. But she protests that expressing through actions and words is entirely different from each other. She casually points out that he says, "I like you too much," which is kinda overbearing. Note to Harold, maybe tone down the clingy confessions, bro. Astonished, he wonders whether demons are not in the habit of expressing love to each other. A flustered Yona admits that they don't. Impressed by her honesty, he suggests that he will do whatever she wants instead, because it's kinda unjust for her to carry the burden alone. Harold's pulling the hero card, all in on emotional support. She is not certain whether he can keep such a promise, but he gives her his word, being a hero. To prove his point, he offers his pinky to her, and a puzzled Yona interlinks hers with his, thus sealing the trust. Next, she positions him on her lap and then apprehensively tries to whisper something into his ear. Ooh, lap pillow moment, so nice, so sweet. She declares that she feels lonely when he is away for work. A flabbergasted Harold turns towards her, but instantly, a blinding light flashes out from the mysterious vial, transforming him back to his original form. But he is too distracted to notice that change, since he cannot believe that Yona feels that way about him. Plot twist. Magical glow up right when things get emotional. An emotionally caught Yona reminds him about his turn to open his heart. But before he can do that, there is an ominous tap on the door, and in no time, the whole wall is blown away. At the opening, a strange young girl appears carrying an enormous pointed axe. She is probably termed as the Bulldozer Woman. She intimidatingly addresses Harold, accusing him of making her little Yona cry. Swiftly, she makes a vicious attack towards him, but an agile Harold instantly blocks her weapon. Yona quickly chips in, ordering her to stop. It is revealed that the intruder is Yona's sister, and she wonders about her unexpected visit. And just like that, family drama with a giant axe begins. Later, the troublemaker is captured and securely tied down. She is on the verge of tears and apologizes for destroying their house. Yona wrathfully urges her to think deeply about what she has done and mentions that it's easier to demolish but difficult to repair even with magic. Guess you can't just hit undo in real life, huh? Harold informs Yona that all repairs have been done. Yona is embarrassed because Harold wasn't able to go to work that day. He assures her that his work for that day has been rescheduled for next week. Lucky guy getting a bonus day off. Hope it comes with free donuts. He sheepishly coaxes her to let her sister go. On his request, Yona agrees to untie the rascal. After that, Harold introduces himself formally to the girl as Yona's husband. Formally? Like, bow and everything? So fancy. He holds out his hand to greet her politely. The panic-stricken girl quickly hides behind Yona. To her annoyance, Harold apologizes for scaring her and considers her quite different from her sister. Probably not the best time to whip out the handshake, bro. Yona explains that her sister is an introvert who barely communicates outside the family. Next, she compels her sister to introduce herself. Quite shyly, the girl states that her name is Nui Nui. Sounds like a Pokemon with social anxiety. Yona reveals that she is always huddled in her room and lacks basic communication skills. Nonetheless, she has always been the best older sister to her. Nui is touched and immediately hugs her from behind. He cannot help but envy the sister bond because he never had any siblings. Poor Harold. Only child syndrome strikes again. He mentally calculates that by marriage, Nui is also related to him and is his sister-in-law. Even Nui is taken aback by that strange revelation. An amused Yona mentions that by calling her Nui will be just fine. Yeah, best to avoid weird family nicknames at this point. Meanwhile, Nui is seriously considering enforcing a rule about banning marriage relations in the demon world. Harold politely offers her a seat and also sets out to make some tea. A concerned Yona offers to do it, but he insists that he will take care of this and also confirms with her about her favorite wasabi tea. Wasabi tea? Guess Harold's stomach has a death wish. Later, while having tea and snacks, Yona wonders about her visit. Nui complains that she never thought Yona would completely abandon the demon realm. A flushed Yona is speechless, and it is then that Harold comes to her rescue, assuming that Nui came here to check on her little sister. Harold's a smooth talker, huh? Bet he could sell ice to a snowman. He explains to Yona that they haven't even visited their family home yet, and should do so once in a while. An Yona jumps out of her skin, frantically refusing the idea. She shoots back that if that's the case, then she hasn't met his parents as well. Plot twist. Time to meet the in-laws. Dun dun dun. Harold agrees with her point that both families should have a union. Personally, Harold is always curious about the place where Yona grew up. A fuming Yona puts off the idea for the time being. Can't blame her. Visiting the in-laws is like a boss battle. Nui is the silent spectator of the whole lovey-dovey scene and recalls Yato's report about how Yona doesn't want to return and is loyal to her hero husband. Nui frowns, thinking that Yona is being deceived by Harold. According to her, humans are a weak race who rely on their slippery tongues. Hey, we call that charisma around here. She recalls her father telling her that he was defeated by an evil hero who tricked him. She can see how smartly the hero is handling her naive sister. and is sinisterly carving his way to the upper ranks of the demon world by manipulating Yona. Nui feels that it is her duty as an older sister to protect her. Sisterly protection mode activated. Harold offers Nui an overnight stay and even plans to throw a welcome party for her. Nui stares at the monkey scornfully, putting out an act, but decides to move with the flow. She agrees and secretly plans to expose him in front of Yona and break his delusion. Operation Hero Expose is a go. Later, while barbecuing meat on the grill, Harold can feel the cold vibe coming out of Nui, but an amused Yona assures him that she is quite stubborn, probably stuck in some kind of misunderstanding. The fragrant aroma of the skewered meat waters her mouth, but Nui is adamant to uncover Harold's true intentions and decides to restrain herself from eating anything cooked by him. But she is unable to control her hunger, as in no time she hungrily chomps down 3 skewers together. So much for resisting temptation. Meat beats conspiracy every time. They both encourage her to eat as much as she wants. Yona even offers her some spice to sprinkle on. Nui's face burns like a volcano as she tastes the spice. Hotter than Harold's flirting skills. Ironically, Yona comments about the bad eating habits of the demon realm, and Harold chips in that nutrition should be balanced with cost efficiency. Both make sure that Nui is well fed. Meanwhile, after tasting the spice, Nui's head begins to spin while her eyes become a never-ending stream of tears. Guess she bit off more than she could chew, literally. She is certain that Yona is being manipulated by that rascal. Unaware of her feelings, Harold keeps on offering her various food items. But Nui needs help, thanks to the spice overdose. Someone call the spice hotline. After a while, when everything is sorted, Nui expresses her gratitude for the food. She cannot believe that instead of exposing him, she actually fell into the fly trap. As Yona goes to get some dessert, Nui attempts to insult Harold by asking him where to poop. Now she is certain about the angry outburst, but to her surprise, he cheerfully guides her to the washroom. Later that night, she is given a thorough bath by Yona, just like old times. She is disappointed that her plan didn't succeed, but she is hopeful that the next day will be better. Because tomorrow is another day for hero sabotage. Yona scrubs her vigorously to make her sparkling clean. Nui admits that it took the world to come and meet her, and Yona knows that she did all that just for the sake of her. Soon, they engage in a sisterly chit-chat. Demon spa day complete. Nui wants to express her greatest fear that Yona doesn't prioritize her anymore, but for some reason remains silent. Later, they both dress up in cute furry pajamas for the pajama party, and an excited Yona declares human culture fascinating. An amused Harold guesses that she might have figured that out in the book of Shinken Quest. If it's in the book, it must be true, like Wikipedia, but with more demon jokes. To his amazement, she even offers a set to Harold. Nui is watching the lovey-dovey scene again and is forced to analyze whether she is being too nosy and whether Yona really wants to spend her life with that hero. She considers the possibility that the hero might be evil, but he makes her sister happy. Plot twist. He's the good guy after all, or is he? Her thoughts are thwarted by a huge pillow that hits her face directly. It appears that the attack came from Harold, who apologizes for being too rash. And then begins the bloody battle of pillows, with a hysterical Nui all set to crush the hero for once. Pillow fight, the ultimate demon hunter training. She stays put with her belief that a hero is humanity's biggest rival and is adamant to reveal his true identity the next day. After a while, the Book of Shinken Quest announces the successful completion of coordinate matching outfits. The next morning at breakfast, Yona announces that she has to run an important errand and assures them that she will be back soon. Hope it's not another demon dry cleaning run. But before leaving, she firmly instructs Harold and Nui to look after the place behind her. A shocked Nui cannot believe her ears. Team Hero babysitting mode activated. Let's hope they don't blow up the kitchen.